A Promise Unforgotten, written by the Do-It-All Badger. A massive army of drone war machines walked through the streets. Most of them were busy tearing up buildings and civilian vehicles, reconstructing them into crude barricades. Others were erecting massive fortifications, nuke snuffers, supply stations, and orbital launchers. A handful of others were directing the civilians and keeping them from panicking, moving them through the construction efforts towards the massive underground bunkers. Every single comm device on the planet broadcast the same message. You will be protected. No matter what else happens, you will be safe. Do not panic. Follow the directions. You will be protected. The day had started out so nicely, so perfectly. Now the skies were darkening. Sun and stars flooded out as warships slowly filled local space around the planet. The machines on the ground continued to steadily erect their defenses, while the people tried their level best to not panic. A few did here and there anyway, but those were quickly pacified with stun darts and carried off by civilian medical crews into the bunkers. Very few would not make it to their destination before the doors began to close, but there were contingencies for that. Grav drones with friendly digital voices would coax the handfuls of stragglers to climb aboard them so that they could be whisked away to the last bunker, the last safe space on their lovely little world. A child began to cry as the drone dropped her off in front of the last bunker, clutching a small toy her parents had gotten her. In the masses of crowds, she'd gotten separated from them and lost, and now the doors were sealed as she could not get back to them. Scared and alone, she had stayed put on the roads and waited for her parents to come get her, believing that they'd double back for her and not wanting to make herself even more lost than she already was. This seems to have been a mistake in retrospect. None of the weary people filing into the building looked at her, save for a single drone with a bright red eye. A few minutes later, the sound of heavily booted feet came out of the bunker, and the child found herself scooped up into a pair of big, strong arms, causing her to squeak in shock as she was swiftly carried in, and the doors began to close. "Shh, little one. It's all right. It's okay. You're safe here. You got lost, didn't you? Well, that's okay. These things happen. Take a few deep breaths. Try to calm yourself. Look, I have a surprise for you." Then Eld began running towards the child and her benefactor, crying out her name, "Gracie! Gracie!" The girl then squealed, crying anew, "Papa!" The man quickly took his daughter and fell to his knees, sobbing openly and bowing his head low. Thank you so much, sir, thank you." There was a chuckle, and the man was helped to his feet. "Think nothing of it. If you really want to thank me, why don't you help keep the other lost children calm, yeah? Not everyone's parents managed to get away so my drones could find them." This caused the man to blink a few times, a bit stunned. "Of course, sir. I'd be honored to, but may I contact my wife to tell her I found Gracie?" "Go right ahead. Now, off you go. I've got to see to the defense coordination." With another bow, the man began walking away. The little girl briefly turned to wave at her benefactor, who smiled and waved back. Once they were out of sight, the man's face hardened a bit, and then he began marching back to his control room, eyes glowing bright and silvery as the drone armies fed him more information about the progress on the defenses and the fleet movements above, directly to the wireless chips scattered throughout his brain. He had a lot of work yet to do if he was going to save these people, and he was not looking forward to fighting his own people. He knew what the human fleets could do, and he knew the admiral of that fleet on a first-name basis. Even so, he knew it would come to this, and if he must sacrifice a few 100,000 of his own for a few billion aliens. The thought trailed off and lingered like a bad penny in an overly engineered mind as he settled into one luxury he had before himself, a large, comfortable reclining chair. Eyes closing over, Jacob Boggess pored over the 1,000 pop-ups that were coating his artificial corneas and analyzing the data. His hands moved over unseen keyboards and across invisible screens, redirecting the drones here and there as needed. Not too much micromanagement, just a few tweaks across the board for efficiency and speed. He almost didn't notice when a tiny reptilian hand tugged at his pant leg, until he finally took note. The drones would be fine operating on their own for a few. He opened his eyes again and looked down to see little Gracie standing there with a small gaggle of other juveniles and toddlers. He knew them all by name and history. The infant that Gracie was holding was born only a few weeks ago and had accidentally been left behind in a rush to evac a maternity ward due to having curled up in a ball under its blanket and overlooked by the nurses. The toddlers were twins from the orphanage on the other side of the world, who had been playing hide-and-seek and were all too good at hiding. The few other children had similar stories of accidental abandonment, but true to his word, Vargas had left no one behind. "What can I do for you, dear?" he asked with a tired smile.
Mr. Vargas.
The child shuffled her feet a bit, dew calls clicking together nervously.
Why are the other humans coming to kill us all?
That made him flinch a bit and sigh. The one question he wished she wouldn't ask. He hoped she was too immature to think about that sort of thing. Ah, well. Picking up the children one by one and placing them in the arms of his chair, Vargas began to explain. "I'm sure your father told you this at some point, Gracie, but sometimes adults can be very, very stupid." She nodded enthusiastically. "Well, some military people from your people's government made a bad decision. They decided they wanted everything that my people had. Our worlds, our resources, our technology, all of it. And they didn't want to buy it, so they decided to take it. But to take it, they'd have to get rid of all humans first. So they sent their species navy to a few human worlds, and they got rid of all humans. All of them. You understand, I hope?" Gracie nodded, a bit grisly, perhaps, to explain such things to children, but Vargas did not really believe in what he considered overprotectiveness. "Humans tend to react badly when things like that happen. When someone decides it wants to threaten our entire race, it makes us, as a whole, angry. Usually, when that happens, we decide whatever it is that wants to kill all of us needs to be destroyed instead. And that's why the Terran Grand Navy has been trying to do the same to your people. It's an instinct, a reflex action in our brains."
Gracie looked curious at that. "Then how come you're protecting us, Mr. Vargas?"
That made him smile briefly. "Well, you see, humans used to do that to ourselves long ago. Why, I couldn't tell you. We hated each other for the stupidest reasons. This person's skin was too dark, this person was a different religion, this person was from another country. We used to try and exterminate ourselves all the time over that, but..." He was cut off by a klaxon blaring, and a hailing frequency trying to force itself open. "I'll have to tell you the rest later, sweetie. Would you take the others here and go back to join your father, please?"
"'Kay."
"That's a good girl." He ruffled her hairless head a bit and waited for her to leave. And then the Admiral's face appeared on one of his eye screens. "Hey, Bill, how the hell are you?" Vargas said with a faint hint of a grin. "Or would you prefer Fleet Admiral Mackenzie?" Said Admiral's face was red with rage. Yeah, he'd seen Vargas's preparations and was not happy.
"Jacob Philip Vargas, you are a traitor to your government, your species, and your home world. I order you to surrender and turn over control of this planet to the Grand Navy immediately."
Vargas let out a laugh at that. "Why, so that you can butcher these people one by one? I'll pass, Bill. You know you can't win here. Take your little tinker toys and go home." His face briefly darkened. "Or I'll send you all back home in a series of very nicely hand-carved chomwood boxes. The choice is yours." Aboard the flagship, it was Bill Mackenzie could do to not start stomping his feet and throwing things in rage.
"Damn you, Jake, why? You know what they did. How can you turn your back on your own race like this? Answer me, damn you. Do the billions of our dead mean nothing?"
The image of Jake Vargas in his view screen quietly lit up a cigarette and leaned back in his chair, still smiling that calm, gentle, insufferable smile. "Bill, it is because of those countless dead that I am doing this. Don't tell me you've forgotten your history. For God's sakes, man, we both went to the same college back in Warsaw." Bill, try as he might, could not recall what the flying hell his former friend was talking about. But he did know that Jake was one of the foremost military minds from the whole world, and one of the foremost war drone controllers on top of that. Even with full might of the Grand Navy, it was highly likely that their crusade would end right here, with all hands lost.
"Explain it to me then, Jake. Help me understand this treason."
Bill's tone was pleading now, more than angry. Vargas let out a sigh, putting a hand to his forehead and shaking it.
It's because I love my world, Bill, and all those people whose lives were unjustly snuffed out. And even you. And all the men, women, and other aboard your ships. It's because I love them all so very much, that I am not willing to let you play this stupid game. You want to hate them? Fine, that's your right. I think it's dumb, but that's not my prerogative. You want to bring the perpetrators to justice? Awesome. Hunt their admiralty and military forces responsible for this. Hunt them down all you want. No skin on my nose. But I'll be damned if I let my people start down a dark path of genocide. It was then that Bill began to recall the monument. That ancient, centuries-old monument. So old, it had become faded and dull. Vargas cleared his throat, snapping his old friend's attention back to him. Never again, Bill. Those words mean everything. And if you all have to die for that, then I can live with that. It'll hurt. I'll probably fight and scream in my sleep. But I can live with that stain on my conscience. I'll happily, with a smile on my face, put every last one of you to the sword to keep that promise. No matter where it is. No matter who it is. Never again. End of story. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Vidmori, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.